The phoenix is not just a myth. It is a memory that humanity keeps telling over and over again. A story older than empires, whispered across deserts and oceans, carried in scrolls and starlight. In Egypt, it was the Bennu bird, radiant, solitary, eternal. It rose each morning with the sun god Ra, singing the world awake with a single note. To them, it wasn't just a creature. It was time itself, life, death, and rebirth, wrapped in feather and fire. In Greece, it lived for 500 years. When the end came, it didn't run. It built its funeral pyre from cinnamon and myrrh, laid down upon the flames willingly, with dignity, with knowing, died singing. To the Persians, it was the Simurgh, not a destroyer, but a healer, appearing only when all hope had withered. Its feathers shimmered with all the colors of contradiction. Fire and water, earth and sky. It reminded them, transformation doesn't come to the strong, comes to the honest. And in China, the Fenghuang symbol lists not just rebirth, but balance. Harmony between forces, yin and yang, came not to replace, but to restore. Different names, different feathers, but the same essence, a being that chooses to end, so that it may begin again. Why does this myth keep finding us? Because deep down we know, the phoenix doesn't just live in legend, it lives in us. I didn't ask for the fire, it just came, not as flames, but as exhaustion, disappointment, a slow erosion of meaning. One day I looked around and realized I no longer recognized the life I had built. I was surrounded by noise, movement, achievement, but inside, it was silent. What burned first wasn't my job or my home. It was my image, the version of me I had carefully crafted for the world. The strong one, the reliable one, the happy one. And when that mask melted, I didn't know who was underneath. There was no warning, no thunderclap, just a whisper. This is not who you are anymore. And so I fell, not dramatically, just quietly, as if the soul had finally grown tired of pretending. The phoenix doesn't escape the end. It builds it, chooses the moment, gathers the wood, and lays itself down, not in despair, but in surrender. I found myself doing the same, not knowing why, only knowing what could not come with me. I let go of my need to be liked, my fear of disappointing others, my belief that rest was laziness, that softness was weakness. I gathered these old selves like fallen leaves and made my pyre, and the fire came. Destruction is not the opposite of creation. Sometimes it's the beginning of it. Burning is not loud. It's quiet. It leaves no instruction manual, only ashes. You sit with the wreckage of who you were and wait. In that silence, you start to hear something else. Not your thoughts, not your fears, something deeper, a voice that doesn't shout, a knowing that doesn't beg to be believed. The phoenix dies alone, and it rises alone. There is no audience, no medal, just stillness. And in that stillness, something new. Ash is not absent. It has potential. It is the ground zero of becoming. I sat in the ruins of my old identity, and slowly something began to grow. It wasn't a new goal, not a fresh to-do list, but a permission to be slower, to be gentler, to be more human than impressive. From the ashes, a sprout, and from the sprout, a self I had long forgotten. Sometimes you don't rise by doing more. You rise by doing less, by finally resting in who you are. The phoenix doesn't rise with drama. It rises in stillness. It doesn't rush back into the world with armor and answers. Steps softly, barefoot, wings barely open. It listens more than it speaks. That's what I did. I didn't re-enter the world to prove anything. I wasn't more productive, or more enlightened. I was just real, and that was enough. You see, transformation doesn't always look like a climax. Sometimes it looks like walking differently, breathing differently, looking in the mirror, and finally recognizing yourself. If you want to rise, you must be willing to burn. Burn the version of you that survives by shrinking. Burn the mask that smiles while your soul screams. Burn the lie that says love must be earned through pain. Because what's on the other side of that fire is not perfection. It's peace. Not applause, but alignment. You don't have to hate who you were. You don't have to punish them. You just have to love yourself enough to let them go. In the final vision, the phoenix rises, not because it wants to impress, but because it can no longer stay small. Its wings glow not with power, but with memory. It remembers who it was, who it burned to become, and who it always was beneath it all. And then it flies. But the real story is not in the flight. It's in the one watching it from below. The one who burned, who fell, who waited, and who now walks away, quietly alive. If this reflection meant something to you, if it softened something inside, if it reminded you that endings are not failures, they are initiations, then please like the video, subscribe, share. It may seem small, but in this corner of the internet, where we trade noise for meaning and algorithms for soul, every ripple matters. You never know who might be in the fire right now, waiting for a sign to rise. Let this be that sign. Let's rise together.